Hello, we are Group 3. Our project is King's Archive and Online Access. Here is the content of our presentation. The first part is the project introduction. Due to the pandemic, the King's Archive are not open to the public as before, which places a high demand on the digitalization of material and the management of digital assets. This user journey map could more visually reflect the entire process of user using the King's Archives. Considering the increased demand for online access, we aim to solve two research questions. What is the priority of archive digitization, and how digitized materials can be displayed in the best way to serve users' needs? How to improve online services and user engagement of archive catalog website. We adopt four methods to address these two questions. We first contact the start of the archive to obtain the contact information of the core users. Now we have completed 6 in-depth interviews and also find the competition analysis. However, due to the limitation of the user base, we haven't collected an ideal survey sample at present.
Here are four primary findings of our project. Firstly, archive users are mainly King students and professors. Most of them came from the Department of World Studies, History, and Literature, so most of the people we interviewed were relatively proficient archive users. Users mainly use it for research and teaching. For online teaching, archive staffs will prepare the digitalized materials in advance. During the pandemic, a number of interviewees used the King's Archives as a teaching method, but their students had a lot of difficulties in using it, such as getting materials from the archive. Here are some terms related to the material forms extracted from our interviews. We can see that the majority of interviewees mentioned text-based documents is what they exactly mainly use, and made limited use of media materials such as photographs. Here is a persona based on the interview data. George Smith is a professor in the Department of Comparative Literature at King's College London, so he often uses archive materials to support his work. He has recently been writing a novel about the Victorian period, so he also has been reading Victorian military sources, maps, and other materials to give his book more authenticity. We learned from the interview that the King's Archive is not the only option for users who also use the National Archives, British Library, etc. We did competition analysis and concluded the following strengths of King's Archive. Firstly, the largest number of King archives, especially in the military. Secondly, the alphabetical catalog, which can help people who cannot remember the full spelling terms. Thirdly, matching percentage ranks users how relevant each collection is to the word they are searching for. The last strength is knowledgeable staff of King's Archives, who ensures users online access. However, there are also weaknesses to be attentioned, which are reflected in four aspects: lack of well-trained staff, limited budgets, and excessive number of undigitized archives and prioritized decisions. And finally, the unfriendly decision functionality of the web design. We focus on the latter two aspects, digitalization issues and web design. In the digitalization section, we will cover the following four aspects. Firstly, most of the interviewees feel that digitalization would be helpful and convenient for their studies and research, especially as the archives are closed during the pandemic. Secondly, the staff told us that the main user group of King's Archives are the professors and students of our college, and our professor's purpose we interviewed is teaching. So the material used for education could be digitalized as a priority, and we can set up a separate collection for courses to enable easy retrieval and use by students. Most of the users interviewed use written documents, so there is an option to prioritize digitalized documents. But some are numerous and take a lot of time and money, so priority can be given to the materials with fewer pages but used more often. However, some material is difficult to see clearly on a screen, so most interviewees prefer to go in person to see the material in its original format. Besides, military archives are the strength of King's Archives. We are going to further confirm whether they are the most frequently used materials and then decide digitalization issues.
Here are the findings drawn from interface and functions. The first is its accessibility of the website. The access to archive catalogs is mostly commented by interviewees as not intuitive or self-evident. This is also observed in usability tests. Google search can't jump to the website directly. When they open the main page of the King's Library, they have to scroll down on the bottom to find the portal, which takes minutes. The second issue centers around the searching box. The current searching function is satisfactory in terms of general search and the categorized percentage of matching. It is also user-friendly for those who know what they want, but it is reflected in both interview and usability tests that grouping terms sometimes doesn't work well, for that it fails to narrow down the results, in most cases due to wrong usage. Besides, advanced search with filters such as subject date fits better with some users' needs in comparison with other archives they use. The third one is about content categorization and description. Content description is thorough and caters for people in general, but users ask for more contextual details on what are contained in a collection and individual reference code. Two interviewees think that there should be linkages between different people and topics that helps them navigate files. Here is our conclusion. We have some suggestions for website improvement based on the findings above. 1. Material used for education and those with fewer pages but used more often should be prioritized for digitization. 2. Create more detailed item descriptions, better characterize material by themes, subjects, etc. 3. Provide advanced search functions and refine research engine and display results by hierarchy. 4. Provide clearer website portal on library page. 5. Develop a reminder mechanism for informing users of new digital resources updates via email or SMS. 6. Establish an online chat to provide timely Q&A service to support users and collect feedback. 7. Create a sharing folder with user-customized permissions for users who belong to the same research community and study the same module. 8. Develop partnerships with other archives, such as outsourcing digital services to professional institutions through crowdfunding. We also have some limitations in this project, like small survey sample size, lack of the diversity of interviewees' backgrounds, and no relevant research on budget. Here are some sample websites corresponding to our suggestions for future reference. To fix the limitations, we have formulated a plan, hoping to fully reflect the research process and conclusions in the final report. The above is all of our presentation. Thank you for listening.